wasn't
at
high.
the pen cap.
At the pen cap,
At the
yeah.
pen cap.
But I think the first time I've been faded was that time I called the cops myself.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I remember you telling me that story for the first time when we were shooting Dinosaur. And it was just me, you, Isaiah, and Frankie. And then you were just like,
Name drop.
yeah, I called I called the cops
like
on
a
myself.
sins
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that shit was
Yeah,
nuts.
I remember that
And
story.
it wasn't like like you almost got away with it, right?
I almost got away with that shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You gotta tell it. You gotta
Oh
tell
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I'll give like context before. So the day before, I was like gonna sneak out with like my homies and just like go to like my homie's crib, and they were gonna like make music or like do some dumb shit, whatever. And so I snuck out my house to go hang out with them, and like this is like I think in Rialto or something. And so my homie picked me up, drove me to Rialto, and then I guess it was so fucking early because I told my mom, I'm like, yeah, it's like 7 o'clock. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to sleep. And she's like, all right, for sure. And then she like texts me an hour later, and she was just like, ¿Dónde estás? And I'm like, oh, I'm in my room. She's like, no, you're fucking not. Like, she's like, I just went to your room. You're not there. She's like, come back home right now. I was like, fuck. And I still hadn't even smoked yet, you know? And my homie had just gotten edibles, and we were gonna like all like smoke and like, eat edibles or whatever and shit.
Fuck.
And so I was like, yo, like, dog, like, I'm so sorry. Like, we just got here. You got to drive me back right now. You got to drive me back. Like, I'm in trouble right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, he drove me back. But he also felt really bad that I couldn't, like, hang out with them. So he gave me, like, an edible, whatever. And the next day, I think it was, like, Memorial Day or something. So we didn't have school the next day. And so I was like, oh, for sure. Like, I'm going to just kick back at home and just eat this edible and shit.
Edible.
And I told my mom, like, oh, yeah, like, because they wanted to take me to work with them. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to go. Like, I'm going to chill back at the house and look for jobs today. And they're like, okay, for sure, like, go do that.
They thought you were gonna be a good son.
Yeah, no, for real. And then, yeah, so they all left. And then my dad was the last one to leave. But they all did. And I was like, okay, for sure, put on a movie, get my snacks out, all this shit, whatever. And then
You thought you were gonna have like the typical, because this was the first time doing edibles, right?
yeah.
So you
first
thought you were
time.
gonna have like your typical movie high experience,
Oh, yeah.
munchies, watch a funny movie, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah, I thought it was going to be
that
that, but
did not happen.
That shit went south.
yeah, fucking. So I ate half of the edible, and yeah, I was just like, damn, I don't feel shit. Like, it was like 5 minutes went by, 10 minutes went by, and then like 15 minutes, and I was just like, damn, like this kind of sucks. Like, I just eat the rest of the whole like, you know, thing, and it was the size of a fucking quarter, like not even big.
Yeah,
You know?
that's what's going to get you.
Yeah.
is like the small, and you're like, I'm gonna just take the whole thing.
Yeah, and so whatever, I took the edible, and then like 5 minutes later, like I started feeling like crazy, like like my feet being super cold. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is weird. And so I wrapped my feet around like in a blanket, and I'm like, dude, they feel way too hot now. And I'm just like, my heart started going like beating hella crazy fast. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, damn, what do I do? What do I do? And like, they feel too hot now. Like, I got to go put them in the freezer. So I open the refrigerator door and like stick my feet in there. And I'm just like, no, now they feel it's way too cold again. I'm just like going back and forth doing that. And then like I'm looking up like, why do I feel this way? And then they start talking about shrooms. I'm like, oh fuck, man, my shit's laced with shrooms. Fuck, like, I'm gonna die. And then I'm like I just like started feeling crazy, like faded. And like I would just close my eyes and I would see like a goat on a cross. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm dying and I'm going to go to hell? This sucks. Like, not on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday.
And then fucking I'm like, all right, you know what? I just got to take a cold shower. You know, like, I'll feel better taking a cold shower. And I'm walking up these stairs to go to my shower. And I'm just, like, floating. Like, I just feel like I'm just, like, floating, you know? And I get to my shower. And then I just, like, start feeling, like, my heartbeat, like, dropping. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm dying. Like, I'm going to die right now. So I'm like, who can I call? I can't call, like, my sister. She's going to snitch on me. Like, no one's answering back to my text. Oh, the fucked up part about it is I texted one of my homies. And I was just like, yo, dude, I'm faded. I'm freaking out. He was like, ha, 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 pussy. And I'm like, dude, I'm dying right now, fool. Like, help me. So I didn't text him back, and I was like, damn, I don't want to die. So I just got to call like the paramedics or something. I call 911, and then I'm talking to like the dispatch. I was like, yo, like I ate an edible or whatever, and I think I'm dying. My heartbeat's going so fast. And then I would say, oh, I can't feel my heartbeat. And she's like, okay, well, like, just wait there. Like paramedics are on their way and shit. Like, just stay on the phone. And I'm like, okay, for sure. And then I'm like in my backyard, and I'm just like walking in circles for like the longest time ever. And then I hear like the trucks pull up. And then I'm just like, oh, like they're here now. And I look at my phone, and there was like no one like on the phone.
The dispatcher was probably like, once they hung up, they're like, this fucking pussy.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So, oh shit. Yeah. So I was like, oh shit, there's no one on the phone. I should just go outside. So I went outside, and the fucking paramedic dude like got there, and he like came with this like fucking big ass equipment and shit, and he was just like, all right, who were you here for? And I'm like, me. Like, you're here for me. He's like, oh, shit, okay, go take a seat. And I'm like, all right, for sure. And they, like, put all these things on me, and they asked me what happened, and I told them. And then, like, they're like, oh, you're faded? Like, okay, for sure. And then the cops came, and then the paramedic was, like, really worried. Well, one of them was. The rest of them were kind of, like, laughing and shit. And, like, they got me water. And then the cops were like, all right, well, I mean, we can't really do anything for him. Like, he's just high. We should just leave him here. Like, there's no reason why you guys should take him in an ambulance to the hospital. But the guy, like, that was helping me out, he was like, no, there's something's not right. Like, we have to take him.
No,
yeah.
Man.
And so they called my dad, because I guess they had to let him know, like, that they're going to take me to the hospital. And they called my dad, and I don't know if my dad understood what was going on. He was just like, oh, it's okay. Like, we'll figure out what's going on and whatever. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I just felt like so shitty, Yeah. But then they took me to the hospital, and then like they put me in the fucking like in the hallway at first, and I was like right across like another gurney from some other fool who looked dead, and I'm just like faded as fuck. I'm just hella faded. I'm like, oh shit, like
it's like you're just over there just on an edible, and there's probably someone like overdose on like some drug.
The worst part about that too is that they put me in a room. I'm like, I feel like such a piece of shit right now. Like. Someone needs this room.
And you're like still tripping right now?
Oh, I'm still like faded as fuck.
Oh, that must felt so shitty.
Don't worry, David. No one needs the room.
And then whatever, they take me out, and I talk to the doctor or whatever, and he asked me what happens, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I did this, and he's like, all right, how old are you, man? I'm like, oh, I'm 16. He was like, what grade are you in? I'm like, I'm a senior. I'm gonna go to college like next year, or I'm graduating next year. And he was just like, fool, like you're young, you're bound to do like drugs in college or whatever. Like, just be careful what you take. And I was like, oh, okay, sick. And then my dad...
like, here's this Percocet.
Yeah.
You told the one...
You bound to do drugs anyway.
Yeah. You told this fucking guy I had Percocet?
That's some real shit.
Come on, get the fuck out.
But, so then my dad comes, and, like, he's, like, talking to the doctor. And he's just, like, asking him, like, is he okay, whatever? He's like, yeah, he's fine. Like, he's like, well, what should I do? Like, should I give him, like, food? Is he not eating? He's like, yeah, you can give him food. Get him some water, too. Like, it's fine. And he was like, all right, like, yeah, it's cool talking to you. Like, have a good night. And so I thought I was done. Me and dad are like, oh, okay, for sure. I'm like, damn, like, I just got away with this. Like, sick. We walk out of the hospital, and I realized I still had, like, that little IV, like, patch in me with the blood, like, hanging on it. Ooh. And I was just like, oh, fuck. I was like, Dad, like, we got to go back. Like, I got to take this shit out. He was like, oh, okay, for sure. I go back in, and security was like, oh, we were looking for you. I was like, what? Okay. So I go back. And then the nurse comes by this time, and she's just like, oh, yeah, like, we need to give you, like, the report or whatever. Like, that shit happened. And then she was just like, okay, like, make sure you, get some food, get some water, and stay away from marijuana. And my dad was like, what? And she just, like, looks at me, and she was like, oh, they didn't tell you? Like, that's why he's in here today, because he ate a marijuana brownie or hash. She said hash brownie. Yeah.
Snitch.
And I was just, and then he was just like, oh, she's not P. Okay. Yeah, she's
That's not very P of her.
Mm-mm. But yeah, that shit happened, and then
she did not have to say that.
No, she didn't.
She did not have to say that.
I can tell from your story, she's smug. She's like, oh,
yeah,
you didn't know.
You're like, oh, like they didn't tell you, like, oh yeah, that's the reason why.
I just
he's
know
in
if
here.
my kids ever got caught with weed,
I would want to know.
So grounded.
Yeah,
so
I would want to know.
Like, and as soon as we walked out of the hospital, like, my dad, he's just like, so this is what you do when I'm not home. And I'm like, fuck, dog. we got home and like
I did it once.
they raided my whole room. And at this point, like now I'm just like faded, but like on a good one, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, what else can you be?
Yeah, you know,
like you at that point,
I
you
thought it
gotta
was
be like,
over.
fuck it.
yeah, no.
Fuck
It
it.
got better.
Yeah, no, it got better for me because I was just faded. And then like
Yeah.
got home, my parents were just raiding my room and shit. And like this is when my older sister was still living with us, and she would like take naps in my room, but like she would take Tylenol to like help her sleep, I guess. So like they saw the Tylenol in my room, they were like, my mom was like, Lizardo, mira, look what he has in his room. It's Tylenol. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's not even mine. Like, you know? But it sounds like that shit where it's like, oh,
I'm
it's
holding
not
it for
mine.
a
I'm
friend.
holding it for a friend, you know? But yeah, and then I remember my mom was just like talking to me, and like I was just zoned the fuck out. And she's like, David. And she just smacks the shit out of me. And I'm like just turn over at her. I still didn't feel a thing. And I don't know. But yeah, I was faded all the way up until the next day going back to school.
What the fuck was in that brownie?
Yeah, I know.
That hash brownie.
What was it? It was just a brownie.
It was just like brownie, was just weed in the brownie.
I know you like to get wet though.
That's stupid.
Wow.
That must be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not topping that. I don't have
I don't
any
think-
stories than that.
I'm not. I'm just
I
gonna say
can't
that
top
right now.
that.
I can't top
You
that.
should have gone last.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
you
fuck.
should have gone last.
Can you edit it for him to go last? Save us the embarrassment. That was incredible.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, that was a
God.
good. That was a good story. Good job.
Good job.
Thanks, guys. I tried.
David being a shitty son.
I actually made all of that up. You guys believe it?